Let's read strategically. For this exercise, we'll open an article by Dr. C. Toth called Mutual Adjustments. We can download this file from Google Scholar, open the PDF, and save it to our hard drive. I'll select my meta-genre folder and hit save, and then we can open it. I'm opening this file in Adobe Acrobat Pro DC, which is part of Creative Cloud. And in this video, we're going to primarily be using the highlighter. So we'll begin by showing the properties bar and selecting a color for the title and the locations in the document where the title is used and defined. So we'll first highlight the title, Mutual Adjustments, copy the text with a right click, and then under Edit we find Find, or we can use Control F. We open the Find box and we can paste this text, Mutual Adjustments, hit Next. There's a blank title up there, then another page heading, and we come to our first location here. So then we can hit the highlighter, and it automatically highlights the selection. Then we can go next. And there's another one, hit the highlighter. We can move the mouse back and forth on these, or we can just hit enter. And it brings us through a couple page headings to here on page 353, Mutual Adjustments. We can highlight that with a click of our cursor over the highlighter, hit enter to continue, and now we've reached the end. Now I want to search for the root of the word adjustments, which is adjust. And the neat thing about Adobe here is when you search for the root, it actually highlights the entire word that contains that root. And I've noticed here the phrase mutual adjustment without the S. So I'm going to do a new search here for mutual adjustment. We'll hit next. Now we can highlight this phrase and hit enter to continue to search, and we have found a few more. It's highlighting again the ones we've already captured. Again, just hitting enter takes us through everything here, and then we can highlight this last one, and then we can go back to the root. So let's search again for adjustment or adjust, hit enter. Again, takes us through some that we've already highlighted, but if we just keep scrolling through with enter, we can find those. And again, the entire word that contains the root is highlighted automatically. So we just have to click the highlighter, hit enter to move forward. We're creating these milestones in the paper because this paper is about mutual adjustments. There's a reason the author chose that title. So this is part of reading strategically. So as we go through here, we'll just continue to highlight these. Right now we're not really reading for content. We're just putting in markers to orient ourselves within the paper. Just a few more here. We're in the conclusion. And that's the end. Now let's search for mutual, see if there's anything we've missed. Again, just hitting enter takes us through the entire paper, watching for that blue highlight on something we haven't found yet. Mutual does not seem to be standing alone. We've reached the end, hit OK, close out the find, and now let's change our color. So I'm going to change to a little bit lighter orange, same color because we're on the same topic, but let it stand out a little bit. And we're going to scroll to the first location that we've highlighted here and highlight this sentence. We're not really reading for content right now, as we are just putting more orienting markers here in our paper. It's a good idea to look for the first and last sentences of a paragraph, especially in the introduction here, where the author is trying to define the term. Where paragraphs change, that's where the author is making a rhetorical move, wrapping up a thought in one sentence and introducing a new thought in the next paragraph. This paragraph is really good because it begins with the word adjustment, and as we read through here fairly quickly, we can see there's a quote, an attempt to define adjustment as the significant social and psychological relearning in the face of new encounters, new teachers, new opportunities, and new academic personnel and social demands that transfer students must undertake at four-year institutions. This is a pretty good definition of adjustment and what the author means by this. So let's highlight that. And again, look at ending sentences, especially of this paragraph, which is pretty heavy on defining what adjustment is. So we'll highlight this last sentence here. We'll take a look at this first sentence here in the next paragraph because it contains the phrase mutual adjustment as well. And it also states the author's hope here. This is a rhetorical move again. We hope that the programming which we have responded. So let's highlight that. And now we're to the first study here. So we're kind of out of the introduction. So I'm going to go through here a little bit quickly. Maybe look for some keywords. This is a subheading that has adjustment in it. So I'm going to look a little bit more closely here. Especially last sentences. And this is a good one here. Still, many students use the word overwhelmed to describe their first semester at UM, which suggests the need for further institutional adjustments. And now we can begin to piece together what exactly the author means by mutual adjustments, because we have mention here of an institutional adjustment. And if we continue through here, we find adjustment of a student, and acknowledging the value of having professors who are premier scholars in the field, in their fields. This student shows how she is adjusting her thinking about faculty-student relationships. So we've got institutional adjustment and student adjustment. Now we kind of have a good idea of what mutual adjustment means. It means both sides. Now we're at the concluding section here, the implications, questions, and future directions. So we're going to take a little bit closer look when mutual adjustments comes up in here. This is a good sentence. As we have noted, transfer students are simultaneously experienced college writers and first-year students at their new institutions, and the principle of mutual adjustment suggests that members of our field can support transfer student writers at 3 levels. So we have a list here of 3 levels. Let's continue. Let's find something else. Again, we're just putting in milestone markers. We're not trying to understand everything the author is saying at this point. We're just trying to orient ourselves so that when we do read through the entire paper from beginning to end, we don't lose ourselves in highway hypnosis. Now we're going to expand on the left here, this bookmark section. And we're actually going to create an outline here. Sometimes papers will have the outline in here already, but if it doesn't have it, we can just create it. So we'll go to the beginning here and just put in mutual adjustments and as our first bookmark on the first page, and we'll add a second one here. We'll call it introductions. And then what we can do with these bookmarks, let's go find our next page here, transfer student research. Before we add this bookmark in, let's grab introduction, drag it up to the text of mutual adjustments, and you can see that little bar gets a little bit shorter. Now we've nested introduction here. So now we scroll back to the transfer student research and hit new bookmark again, that icon up there, and type in transfer student research, composition studies, and writing programs. And we've created a second nested bookmark here, right below introduction. So when you hit that add bookmark icon, it actually adds a bookmark after the currently highlighted bookmark. So we come here to the next section, the first study, we hit new bookmark, and we can type this heading in here. Again, this one is also nested. It says the first study, exploring transfer student writing experience. When we're done typing here, we just hit enter. That's our next bookmark. We'll scroll through to the next heading, institutional responses. We'll hit the bookmark here. We'll start typing institutional responses and hit enter. Then we'll scroll to the next heading here. This one is the second study. Add a new bookmark. Type in the heading. Deepening understanding, assessing adjustments, and evaluating needs. Scroll through to the next. And this is our concluding section, implications, questions, and future directions for research. Now we've got a nice outline here of the different macro rhetorical moves that the author is making with the introduction through the first and second studies with an institutional response in between. But this isn't where we end. We're going to add one more here, perhaps the most important. This is the works cited, and that's where we're going to go next. But you can see we have our outline here. We can click on each one to navigate through. So here we're going to go back to the highlighter, and we're going to change our color. So click on the highlighter, bring up the properties bar. Let's go to magenta here. And we're going to dive into the works cited. We're going to look at some of these titles to the cited research and find ones that we think will help us understand what mutual adjustments means. So I've read through these already, and I'm just highlighting the ones that stood out to me. Different ones might stand out to you. The key is to be a little bit selective, not do everyone, but do enough that you can find some good milestones in your paper. So now we're going to open up the find box here, and we're going to search for our authors. I'm just going to go in reverse order here, and we can find where in the paper they've been cited, and just highlight that. Again, hit enter to go next. And highlight that. And what we're doing is we're identifying the conversation that the author is having with the discourse community here. So we're just going to go back and forth between the works cited page here and the text and find the author name, find the citation, and highlight it. This is pretty quick, but it is really helpful in kind of situating yourself and seeing the text in the way that the author sees it, reading this like a writer. You could do this for every author, but again, just so it doesn't take quite as long, and so it's a little more focused. Just doing the ones with titles that I thought would help me understand a little bit more about the author's central point. So I think that's everybody. Alexander here. You can see a lot of these are contained within the same citation. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the beginning here and change my pen color to a little bit lighter. And I'm just going to do some highlights here. So just highlight some sentences that I think bring out the author's connections that they're making to the discourse community here. So this one's actually pretty good. It says, in reviewing this literature, we already have this highlighted. So this is a kind of a rhetorical move here that the author is constituting or constellating us, positioning us to see how they've viewed the research. This is a good one here on transfer stigma, transfer shock. Again, we highlighted that list earlier. Transfer reciprocity and adjustments. Let's search for the next one. Again, since we have it highlighted in a different color, it's purple, it's going to stand out. You can just go through here fairly quickly. And it looks like that's everyone. So there's the author positioning themselves within the discourse community, showing us the conversation they're going to have here.